Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division for the Christmas tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Also, you can get all types of free content on golfclashtommy.com. To get the ultimate text guides for tournaments, you subscribe to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. This tournament will be in Christmas week, and therefore we have the nice little Santa's hat and the Christmas sweater as well. I'm going to break these holes down for you. I've been playing them a lot today since they got released Thursday the 19th of December, and I feel that we do have a decent opportunity on certain holes, where we have hole 6, which is basically a hole to just survive. A lot of elevation differences, and you need to make sure that you know what you're doing if you're going to play a massively downhill shot, for an example. And that you can do by looking at the guide for elevation that I do have here on the channel, so you understand why, or especially understand why it's so important to adjust for elevation. In the end, I hope you're going to enjoy the video. Make sure that you comment in the comment section below if you do have any questions. But let's go with hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're going to start by playing with a 10% over adjustment. 4.5 bar and as much side spin to the right possible. And I can just change when it comes to talking about the topspin to use as much topspin that you possible can. This is because we do want to gain as much distance that we can, so the second shot is going to be easier. Maximum distance with a 10%, and I'm using a Quasar. The reason I'm using a Quasar is because we don't need any more. But if we do have a straight headwind, we would consider playing with a power 2 or a power 3 ball, so we're not gonna go in between clubs. We get the ball down there in a nice spot, and we're going to the second shot, which we're going to play with a thorn. The thorn, due to its backspin, so we can aim on the fringe or on the green directly and don't have to bother about any inconsistency which could give us if we try to bounce on the slight uphill slope just before the green starts. Now I'm using a little bit too little backspin here, only using 2 bars, should be using 3 bars instead. Minus 10% means that this ball is going to be less affected by the wind as we play uphill. Very good opportunity for an eagle. For hole number 2, we are going to start by using a Titan ball, and the Titan ball is going to be used as we do want to go over on the left hand side. And you know, Titan ball, use as much topspin as possible combined with as much left side spin as possible as well, so we just keep ourselves on the fairway. We don't want to complicate this drive more than what it is, but that is also why I want to play with a Titan ball, so we don't have to just bounce over the rough, either going left or right. I also value left side more than I would be valuing in a positive way going on the right side. I do feel that we're going to find ourselves in a spot on the right side that could be tricky for us, especially if we're going to have a wind that is not going to allow us to use the compressed ball guideline with our wood club. For an example, 10% over adjustment as I said for the drive, and now we're going to just position ourselves going with a wood club. Just to add, you don't have to play with a Titan ball here. You can play with a power 1, power 2, but then you will have to bounce over the rough. You just need to be very, very clear with that, so you don't feel that we are just taking the Titan ball because it's an absolute must. But it's going to help, and we're going to get more distance, and it's going to be an easier second shot, which is always going to be when we do have more distance with our drive. Second shot that our opponent is playing is the same way we are going to play, just that we're going to use a wood club. And now we're going to over adjust 30%. I know that's a lot, but very important, because if you don't do that, and especially if we do have a little bit higher wind than that we're having in this video, now we only have 2 miles per hour, which obviously the elevation won't be that much of an effect. But at the same time, coming up to 5, 6, 7 miles per hour in wind, that's going to be a tricky one, and then we need to make sure that we do over adjust with 30%. We're gonna take this shot. Unfortunately, we just hit a minor grade to the right there, and we're just gonna miss it to the right. I don't see this as an opportunity, but you know, if we're lucky, so. For hole number 3, we're going to play 20% over adjustment. It's super important, as otherwise we're not gonna hit the mark that we're aiming for. Max side spin to the left, which is 4.5 bars, and 2 bars of backspin. And then we're going to play with either the Viper or the Sniper. Don't use the big dog. The only reason I have the big dog is because we went into the shootout with the big dog. So if we can choose a different club, we would like to do so. This shot comes in very nicely. We needed a little bit less backspin with this type of wind, but you're going to use somewhere between 1 to 3 bars of backspin, depending on if you have headwind, crosswind, or tailwind. Once again, 20% over adjustment, and then you're gonna be close, but in the end, a super tough par 3, making a hole-in-one on. For hole number 4, we are going to choose the right hand side. Reason is because we cannot skip over the rough there without danger in getting into the sand or into the rough directly. 4.5 bar topspin and as much side spin to the left possible, and I play with a Quasar as we don't really need the distance, but we do need the side spin, especially if we're gonna go to the right. If you do have a club that gives you 6 bars topspin minimum, you can skip over the rough, which could be something for you that play with more superior clubs down in Rookie Division or Tour number 4. No elevation for the drive, very important, as we do not need to over adjust or under adjust, which is kind of nice because there is a lot of elevation adjustment in the Greenberg slopes. 30% over adjustment for the second shot. Now we come with a massive downhill approach after having a pretty easy drive elevation wise. No spin, and I'm going to try to do my best to get this one close, but in the end we would maybe need a little bit of topspin here to make sure we're getting to the pin in a nice way. I play with the backbone for accuracy and ball guideline. You can play with whatever long iron you might have. For hole number 5, we're going to play a par 3, and we're going to play with a 10% over adjustment, and we're going to play medium distance. Try to get the blue ring by the rough line. You can see that I'm not really with my blue ring by the rough line, but need to try to be more focused on that the next time. No spin, but in headwind I would like us to change and play half a bar of topspin. In a crosswind, no topspin, no backspin. In a tailwind, no topspin or no backspin. And then you're gonna be very close. For hole number 6, we're going to start with a drive with 10% over adjustment. And we're going to choose the right hand side. I would try to stay away from the left hand side in all type of cases. And the reason for that is, like, if we're not just going to the absolute beginning of that fairway to the left, you can see that you do have those Christmas trees, or not Christmas trees, but those big trees that if we just reach to half of that fairway on the left, we're going to have a problem because those trees will be in our way, and then we'll have to curl around, and that's going to be extremely difficult to get any consistency with a shot like that. Power 3 ball, and now we come to the lesson here that I want to put out for y'all. How important it is to choose the right club. Look at this now. I have the Viper level 7. I have no chance whatsoever, even with a max overpower shot and a power 3 ball, to get to the green. Even though this is a good shot using curl to the left here, getting myself down there on the fairway and putting myself up for a nice wedge. But at the same time, Big Dog would give us at least 10 yards extra. It would give us the opportunity to use all like 5-6 topspin, which we do not have on the Viper. So that's just a very lousy mistake that we do, and that is how important it is to choose the correct club. And that's why I wanted you to look at that here for hole 6. No elevation for the second shot. Take yourself to green, take the eagle, and run to the next course, because this hole is extremely difficult. For hole number 7, we are going to go for the rough bump. And the reason we do that is because both when it comes to tour play and also in tournament, we do want to get it as close as possible, and we want to play the route that gives us the best possible chance for a hole-in-one. Bouncing like our opponent is going to do, I will say that's going to be a very tough time to get that ball in the hole. Reason for that is that you have like 3-4 bounces before it even starts to roll towards the pin, and that is going to be extremely difficult to have any control of that. 10% over adjustment, which means that the ball is going to be affected slightly more by the wind. And once again, when it comes to elevation, make sure you watch the elevation guide so you learn why adjusting for elevation is so important. Now, don't get fooled by the ball guideline, because I did get fooled here. I played without spin because I thought, okay, I leave the ball guideline short and I should not come in too hot. But in the end, I do come in too hot and should be playing with approximately 1 to 1.5 bar backspin with this type of wind. And in the end, it might be difficult thinking about playing a rough bump, but in the end, we're looking for the hole-in-one in tournament, and in tour play, we're looking to get as close as possible, and then this is the way to play. For hole number 8, we're going to start by playing this drive 15% over adjustment. And that is together with a power 1 ball. We don't need to play with a power 3 ball or anything else. We can play even with a power 0 ball if we even want to save our power 1 balls. But I choose to play with a Quasar because I would like to have the side spin to help myself getting an easier time get up to the left hand side of that fairway. And this fairway is a little bit tricky, especially when it slopes and stuff like that. When it slopes first left, then it slopes right. But if we can just get it on fairway, we're gonna have no problem having ourselves a decent chance for the pin in 2. 30% over adjustment, and now this is a very difficult shot. Every time we play such a massively downhill approach, it's first and foremost going to be hard to zoom in to be very detailed with your reins. And 2, it's going to be a lot of bounces before we get to the pin, so the ball is then going to be affected more and more by the wind, especially if we do have a crosswind type of wind. Get it close and you might get this one as a nice eagle. Hole 9 is interesting, and I want us to play with a Titan ball instead of a Quasar. This, due to more distance with a Titan, we can play further up front, we can then gain more distance with our shot, and therefore then have a much better chance for the Albatross from distance. But now when we play with a power 1 ball, we use max topspin, and then being able to use side spin either left or right, depending on what you feel comfortable with, but the end goal is to get this ball to roll as far down the fairway as possible, which will leave ourselves up to having a wood club to the pin for the second shot. 5% over adjustment for the drive. Second shot, I play with 2.5 bar backspin and as much side spin to the right possible. But I would say we should really play this one with 3.5, because you're going to notice that I come in too hot. And here is also one thing. Those of you that do want to make sure that you have the distance all the time, play with a big dog. But for those of you that feel confident that you will gain distance with your drive, you will also play with a power 3 ball, then play with a sniper or the Viper for a better accuracy, better ball guideline, and therefore a better chance getting it in the hole for a nice Albatross. So everyone, there you have the playthrough for Rookie Division. All of the Greenberg slopes are new holes, and you can find all type of free content on golfclashtommy.com, listed elevations, everything that you do need to get ahead of your opponent, especially now when this tournament is going to be during Christmas week. So in the end, make sure that you check it out, use the timestamps in the video description down below, but also use the comment section and ask questions. If you do have a concern, a question, I would like to help, so then comment in the comment section below. Video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and I would like you to wish you the best of luck in the Christmas tournament.